President John Mahama has assured the Trade Union Congress and its allied forces that the government recognizes their concerns and will expedite work on finding solutions.
The president was speaking in Kumasi, where he attended the Muslim prayers to mark the end of Ramadan. He said the outlook on the economy in the last quarter of the year was brighter, as his economic team is doing everything possible to cushion the life for the people. Napoleon Atukito reports.
Prayers to end a month-long prayer and fasting by Muslims brought the Ramadan or Al-Fitr to an end. It was observed nationwide and throughout the world by Muslims. In Kumasi, the second largest city in Ghana, President John Mahama attended the special prayer. Mr. Kwabena Eje Ejapon, General Secretary of NPP, was among dignitaries here. Venue was the Central Mosque at Aswase, a Muslim-dominated suburb. Among the issues raised by the Chief Imam of Kumasi, Harun Momen, was the Boko Haram insurgency in northern Nigeria. In one of his terror strikes recently, the group reportedly abducted the wife of Cameroon's deputy prime minister in a cross-border raid. This and many other heinous activities by the sect is described by the chief imam of Kumasi as non-Muslim. He thus urged President Mahama, who is also chairman of ECOWAS, to double up regional efforts to contain them. The religious leader, in similar vein, condemned Israeli attacks on Palestinians in Gaza. Turning to Ghana, he wished the government's effort to spread educational infrastructure laudable. Then he wished Ghanaians peace and progress. President Mahama echoed the tone of prosperity, but his additional words suggested there was more work to be done by his team to make that materialize. He said the government will embark on a 5-year initiative to improve the road network in the country. He said a lot is being done to stabilize the city and keep inflation in check. The president believes that by the end of 2014, there will be a turnaround to ease the economic pressures.
On behalf of the good people of Ghana, the government, and on my own behalf, let me warmly congratulate you for successfully going through this all-important religious duty and important pillar of Islam. I'm confident that all the spiritual devotions and supplications that we have presented to Allah have been received and will receive the appropriate responses. Later this week, I will preside over the meeting of the Presidential Advisory Committee on Economic Recovery. This group will help me guide the implementation of measures to restore the economy to prosperity. We will work to stabilize the currency, to bring down inflation and bring down interest rates. We're on a journey to transform our economy. We must create a permanent fix that cures our cyclical loss of economic stability. We must reform our public financial management, and most of all, we must expand local production of goods and services.
It was announced that those who are yet to make payment towards transportation to the Hajj in Saudi Arabia this year must do so by August 8. The government gave the assurance that it will assist that process to make it successful. From Kumasi, Napoleon Atukito reporting.
Muslims in most parts of the Greater Accra region said their special prayers at the Black Star Square. Vice President Kwesi Amissah-Arthur joined Muslim faithful for this year's celebrations and thanked Ghanaians for the religious coexistence. He asked for patience while government solves the prevalent economic problems. Ngto Pipinungto with this report.
Al-Fitr is the Muslim festival which climaxes a month's Ramadan, in which Muslims are enjoined to deny themselves of food and any material thing. During this period, they pray and seek the mercies, forgiveness of sins and favor of Allah. Present at this year's Eid were Zongo chiefs, Muslim ulama, ministers of state, as well as Vice President Kwesi Amissah-Arthur. The National Chief Imam, Sheikh Osman Nuhu Sharbutu, prayed for the President, the Vice President and their families, government officials, and the entire nation. He, however, bemoaned the political instability that rages on in the Middle East amidst rampant air crashes and asked the Muslims to continue to pray for peace in the world. His message could not end without touching on some internal happenings.
The rising trend in the price of utility services and increases in the price of petroleum products. Like most Ghanaians, we hope and pray that the current economic problems will be short-lived and that sooner or later the economy will respond positively to the measures put in place by the government of the day, and the fortunes of Ghanaians will improve, inshallah.
Vice President Kwesi Amissah-Arthur assured Ghanaians of better days ahead.
As a government concerned about the long-term viability of our economy and its ability to sustain and improve our standards of living, we have had to implement some painful but necessary measures to ensure that we overcome these challenges as quickly as possible. The Quran says, and I quote, "Indeed, after difficulty, there is ease." The sacrifices, the patience, and the prayers will produce success.
He also made reference to the Ebola scare, which has hit other West African neighbors, and asked Ghanaians to report any signs of its symptoms. Though it is claimed the 2013 Hajj was well organized, government pledged an improved organized pilgrimage this year, asking the Muslim community to cooperate with the Hajj office to that effect.
Still on the Eid celebration, a large number of Muslims from the Ahmadiyya faith gathered at the TI Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission Center at Ashoman to pray and celebrate this year's Eid-ul-Fitr. In a sermon, the Acting Ameer and Missionary in charge, Maulvi Mohammed Bin Salih, urged all Ghanaians to work in unity to salvage the country from the current economic upheavals.
At the TI Ahmadiyya Center at Ashoman, Muslim faithful came together as early as 9 a.m. to begin the Eid prayers. They praised Allah, prayed for the nation and their personal success. Halfway through the prayers, the rain set in, but that did not stop them from completing their program. The Acting Ameer and Missionary in charge, Maulvi Mohammed Bin Salih, delivered the sermon. He said, Ramadan and the celebration of Eid-ul-Fitr signifies good tidings for the nation.
Having found ourselves currently at the brink of near economic turmoil, we need to draw deep down the inherent values of the month of Ramadan. At this juncture in the history of our nation, we also need to acknowledge the hand of the Almighty Allah at work. We must necessarily supplicate in prostration before the Almighty Allah and back up the prostration with hard work in a concerted manner so as to pull out Mother Ghana from the abyss of economic downturn.
A Minister of State at the presidency, Alhaji Rashid Pelpo, assured Ghanaians of a better economy as government is working round the clock to achieve that aim. Some members of the TI Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission, Ghana, expressed their feelings for the day.
We must eschew selfishness, aggrandizement, partisan politics, and contribute in our diverse ways, no matter how small.
What we need is collective effort to salvage our nation. It is not only one person who can do it. Yes, we have entrusted the running of the nation into the hands of some people, But if you do not contribute our quota, and then we put them there, hoping that they should be the only ones to do it, we will all fail.
We wish that the country becomes stable, unlike the other places that we have problems here and there.
We now bring you highlights of the Eid celebrations from our reporters around the country. We start off from the port city of Tema, where the special prayer was said at the Afenya Youth Center. They called on the government to speed up efforts to deal with the challenges facing the economy.
The Muslims around Tema gathered at the Afenya Youth Training Center for the special prayer. They thanked Allah for His goodness and successful fast. The prayer was led by the Afenya Chief Imam, Al-Fitr Muhammad. He prayed for the nation and for sustained peace. He also prayed for the government to be able to address the current economic challenges confronting the country. The Imam urged the media to be circumspect and ensure clarity in their reportage. The chief of the Muslims Association in Afenya, Al-Haji Osmanu Muhammad, was also thankful to Allah and happy that leaders of two Islamic groups in Afenya, Al-Sunnah and Al-Tijaniya, were able to settle a dispute between them amicably. The Muslim leaders also urged their younger colleagues to be peaceful and to work harder to achieve success in the coming year.
Hundreds of Muslims in the whole municipality and its environs converged on the regional police depot park to mark the day. They were led in prayer by the acting regional chief imam, Malam Isa Anan. They thanked Allah for the mercy, care and protection throughout the holy month of Ramadan. They also prayed for the religious, political and traditional leadership of the country for Allah to protect, bless and give them wisdom to bring peace and tranquility into the country and the world. Malam Anan cautioned the Muslim community, especially the youth, not to collaborate with any group of people on political, religious and tribal lines to cause any violence which would jeopardize the peace enjoyed in the country. The Volta Regional Minister, Helen Ntoso, appealed to Muslims to continue to give their wards a good education, urging them to bring them up in the fear of Allah and to desist from acts of violence.
And in Eastern region, Muslims converge at a special congregational ground to thank Allah for a successful Ramadan. In Kufaridia, the Orthodox Muslims gathered at their central mosque. The Eastern Regional Chief Imam, Al-Haji Yusuf Amudani Suleimani, led the prayers, after which he gave some advice to the gathering. The Eastern Regional Minister, Mr. Enchibuesiako Sechere, said government will liaise with the Council of Muslims to come up with some training programs for the youth in the Zongos. This, he said, is because of the growing youthful population without a commensurate increase in employment opportunities. The regional minister, on behalf of the president, presented some gifts to the Muslims for the celebration.
In the Upper West region, all the Muslim sects, the Orthodox and the Al-Sunnah, said prayers at the Jubilee Park. They thanked Allah for seeing them through the holy month of Ramadan. The Wa Nafusaini Pelbo was also at the special prayer session. Before the prayer, the Wa Municipal Chief Executive, Mr. Isahaku Putiaha, congratulated the Muslims for completing the spiritual exercise peacefully. He asked them to use the celebration to renew their sense of discipline, faith and commitment to Allah. Mr. Putiaha said the government is on course to provide the community senior high schools across the country. He described as unfortunate development in parts of the sub-region, notably Nigeria and Mali, due to religious differences. The representative of the regional chief imam who led the prayer, Dr. Suleimana Bakuri, prayed for continuous peace and harmony for the needed development to take place in the country.
The Ramadan, the outgoing Central Regional Minister Emmanuel Tay Ado has presented 50 bags of rice and sugar to the Muslim community. The items, valued at 15,000 Ghana cedis, forms part of the government's commitment to support Muslims in their annual prayer and fasting.
Mr. Tay Ado urged the Muslim community to continue to support government through prayers. He said the role of religious bodies towards the socio-economic development of the nation cannot be overemphasized. The minister said, though the country is going through trying moments, religious organizations have not relented in their strides in assisting government morally and spiritually. On behalf of the Muslim community, the Wala chief of Cape Coast, Alhaji Mohammed Ben Abu, thanked government for the gesture.
With support from many philanthropists and well-meaning Ghanaians and from various religions, a number of underprivileged Muslims were not left out of this year's climax of the Ramadan. In their various ways, they make donations in cash as well as with foodstuffs to share in the blessings of the season. Prophet TB Joshua and Emmanuel TV partners have also given out their widow's mite to the Muslim community at Nima and Maulvi.
The good book always reminds us that it is more blessed to give than to receive. For some, this is more fulfilling when the beneficiaries are widows or underprivileged. To practice what the Bible teaches, Prophet TB Joshua and Emmanuel TV partners decided to share with the Muslim community, especially the underprivileged in society. The group presented 1,000 bags of rice, 50 cartons of oil and an amount of 20,000 Ghana cedis to the needy and the leaders of the Muslim community. A representative of the group, Evangelist Samuel Excellence, said sharing with the needy is always a privilege and a joy.
Standing on behalf of Prophet TB Joshua and Emmanuel TV partners to attend to the needy. Some of them may not have food to eat. Some of them may not even have money to transport themselves. It may just be a token, but you can see the joy, and the reception, by which, they receive this gift. We should seek our contribution to others as an assignment from God. And that is the only way we can commit more faith and love in the society of which we are a part.
The chairman of the Ayawasu Council of Muslim Chiefs, Chief Baba Issa, was grateful to the benefactors and said he was pleasantly surprised at the gift and said the Christian brothers will share in the Ramadan blessings with the Muslim community. The beneficiaries were happy to receive the support offered at the climax of the period.